how to be a real Buddhist. Not in such a way that we stick to some religion and to some prescribed rituals, or that we sign to some organization. A true Buddhist, in Pali language, is called upāsaka for male and upāsika for female, meaning the one who sits near. Sitting near means that one is close to the Dhamma, near the truth, not an ideological, doctrinal truth, but a truth that awakens us from the addiction of views, which bring us nothing but uncertainty and fear. A Buddhist is not necessarily a religious affiliation. In fact, the religious aspects has moved too far away from the primacy of the Buddhist teaching. So it's better for a Buddhist to be taken as someone who wants to be educated and follow the path taught by the Buddha. This journey does not end with faith. Faith is only the first step. The second step, however, invites the man to take responsibility into his own hands. For it is true that only this man has insight unto himself. And then, with the help of the Buddha as a mentor, one begins to realize the nature of his experience and is able to let go of all unnecessary obstacles and burdens. This is the path to liberation, not a burden. It is a path to happiness, not suffering. So to be a Buddhist is one who has confidence in the Buddha and his teachings, and he has confidence that there are other beings who have been liberated of those burdens, and that you too can know this very truth. You know for yourself when you no longer have to believe and hope, because now you know. That's the stage when you reach with understanding the Dhamma. But the road is still long, but every right step is special and precious. For every improved morality and way of life, we improve our character, become internally stronger and more confident, and as a result, we become happier. We begin to love the power of virtue, not because of higher power commands us, but because we want it ourselves, because we see the benefit ourselves. Let's then take life into our own hands. It doesn't matter what others do or say. It's important that we are not slaves to public opinion, as we ourselves want to know what is really close to nature and what is not, what is close to truth and what is not. We want to transcend ideologies, philosophies, beliefs. This is not about trying to change the world, but how to change what you can, that is yourself. Therefore, as a follower of the Buddha, I accept the general guidelines for happy, virtuous life. I will not kill at any cost, not a single small animal. I will not steal, cheat, lie, slander, insult, and I will not consume alcohol, not a drop of alcohol, on anything that will take away the clarity of my heart. I want a clear mind, no matter if I have to suffer for it. Clarity of heart and mind is my refuge. This is my high ground on which I want to always stand. I will not surrender to sensual shackles that want to push me down and enslave me. Life is short. Let me not waste it on inferior and short-lived pleasures. So, for such a true and genuine person who would like to be close to the Buddha, I have gathered here for you 20 tips that came from the mouth of the most universal truth or Dhamma, that which he holds. These guidelines are the most basic and necessary before we can even comprehend the depth of the Buddha's teaching or the depth of this existence, of this experience. So, first, associate with the good people, avoid bad ones. The Buddha said, and how does a good person associate with good people? It is when a good person is a friend and companion of ascetics and Brahmins who are faithful, conscientious, prudent, learned, energetic, mindful, and wise. If you gain an astute companion, a fellow traveler, right living, awakened, overcoming all troubles, go with him, gratified, mindful. If you don't gain a astute companion, a fellow traveler, right living and wise, wander alone like a king renouncing his kingdom, like an elephant in the matanga wilds his herd. The Buddha has very often emphasized that we avoid bad and evil people, and that we look for such people who challenge us to goodness. Bad people can lead us to bad habits, while wise people encourage us to do good. In addition, when we are careful, we are not so much exposed to potential troubles when some fool tries to harm us. And when we have friends we deeply respect, we will be even more afraid of doing bad deeds that could cause disappointment and mistrust in our friend. The Buddha also compared true friendship as a treasure and the whole holy life. Second, live by virtue so that you see danger in even the smallest mistakes. The Buddha said, there is a case when a disciple of the Noble Ones recollects his own virtues, thus they're untorn, unbroken, unspotted, unplanted, liberating, praised by the wise, untarnished, conducive to composure. As he is recollecting virtue, his mind is calmed and joy arises. The defilements of his mind are abandoned, just when a mirror is cleansed through the proper way. Every night we do a review of the day and find out where we could improve our action and speech. And every morning we determine that we will not act by body and speech with greed, hatred, and carelessness. We take this exercise as a person hygiene, as if we go to the bathroom every morning and evening. Establish human guidelines. Do not kill, do not steal, do not commit adultery, do not speak inappropriately, and do not consume alcohol and drugs are the absolute necessity for happy and peaceful life right here and after death. The golden rule also applies. What you do not want to happen to you, do not do it yourself either. Of course, also applies in Buddhism. Keep speech clean. The Buddha said, he should not be led by falsehood, and in awareness he should not act in a deceitful manner. Provoked after hearing much talk, from recluses as well as from common people, he should not counter them with harsh speech, for the good do not retaliate. One should be truthful and not reckless, without deceit, greed or slander, and without anger. Speech should be pleasant to listen to, calm and clear. Above all, we avoid lying, evil speaking, slander, and useless chatter. Careless words can escape quickly, but good speech is a sign of inner strength and stability. Be honest, the Buddha said. Whoever, actually incurring a debt, when pressed to pay, evades saying, I'm not in debt to you. He should be known as an outcast. Whoever, doing an evil deed, wishes may not be known, acting in hiding. He should be known as an outcast. Whatever man for his own sake, the sake of another, or for the sake of wealth, tells a lie when asked to bear witness, he should be known as an outcast. If we cannot be honest, then we are definitely hiding something. Why would we hide? Are we afraid of criticism? If criticism is unjustified, let us not worry, for there is no man in the world who is not criticized. The Buddha also listened to criticism. It is better to be afraid of our own weaknesses than the words of others. But we have to admit justified criticism, because living in harmony with nature is more important than manipulating that nature. Don't complain and don't grieve. The Buddha said, do not make criticism regarding anything. He should not train in recklessness and not speak quarrelsome speech. Endowed with these four qualities, truth, self-control, stamina, generosity, a householder of conviction, on passing away, doesn't grieve. The Buddha also said, the power of fools is to complain. Pointing a finger at our dissatisfaction and discomfort means that we have not yet understood the truth of nature. Everything we experience, whether it is pleasure or pain, is entirely our responsibility. It also means not putting ourselves in the position of a judge. The main part of this training is to develop our virtue and live in harmony with nature as much as possible. What others are doing is not our concern. We will do much more good if others notice our purity than to accept our criticism. The same is true for mourning at loss. Everything belongs to nature. Everything is borrowed. Everything that is taken away is actually returned to the rightful owner. Do not gossip. The Buddha said, he should close his ears to village talk. Then on account of life and wisdom and virtue and practice, he should not despise another. Tolerance is a basic virtue, but this must be developed before we are exposed to difference, to division. In everyday life, we can notice how quickly and with some pleasure we like to notice shocking news or unusual events, and also how much we like to look for such things, give them attention, and then spread them further. In this exercise, we therefore avoid village speeches, village talk, which doesn't mean only literally, but also includes following useless news and above all, following social networks, since internet is today a definition for a village. Forgive. Great heroes are the ascetics who are patient and forgiving folks. Realize that we all make mistakes and that we all wish well. Misunderstandings are also part of human nature, so we give everyone a chance to clarify their intentions. We also prefer to pay attention to our weaknesses rather than burden ourselves with others. Forgiveness does not mean that everything is now forgotten. Forgiveness means that everyone has responsibility, since the person who acted in a certain way will have to face the consequences without our interference. Be calm and patient. The Buddha said, a monk should not tremble at blame and not get elated when praised. Greed, together with avarice, anger and slander, he should dispel. Provoked after hearing much talk, from recluses as well as from common people, he should not counter them with harsh speech, for the good do not retaliate. Our well-being will always be tested. No matter how others behave towards us, we always listen with calmness. Be tolerant of the ignorant and of those to whom reckless judgments like to escape. With this way of working, not only do we avoid harm and regret, but we calmly learn about the law of Dhamma, and so we will know better how to react. In addition, silence is the strongest defense and the most undesirable among critics. So, sometimes it's better to say nothing. Be humble and not arrogant. The Buddha said, "In the middle of the ocean, no wave is born. It stays still. So he should stay still without movement and allow no honor anywhere. Of foods and drinks, of chewables, as well of clothes he should not, if getting them, make a store, and he should not become anxious if not getting them." This means that we are easily satisfied, and we are aware that everything belongs to nature, and thus subject to decay, aging, destruction, and death. Also pride, fame, glory are little things. Fame belongs to the world of measurements. There is no way to be able to taste that glory without seeing others as inferior. When you see that glory is nothing but measurement on the account of weaknesses of others, that gained fame quite quickly loses the importance. A poor man is only one who needs others, and rich is the one who doesn't need anything and anyone. Be generous. The Buddha said, "The man of great wealth, with gold and food, enjoy his luxuries alone. This is the way leading to decline." Monks, if beings knew, as I know, the results of giving and sharing, they will not eat without having given, nor would the stain of selfishness overcome their hearts. Even if it were their last bite, their last mouthful, they would not eat without having shared, if there were someone to receive the gift. We develop the heart by giving material things and wealth that are not so vital to us, but those who need those things more. The character of the awakened man, living perfectly in harmony with nature, does not accumulate treasures and see a greater happiness in giving up. Respect your family. The Buddha said, "Whoever, though capable, doesn't support his mother and father, old, the youth, over and done, he should be known as the outcast. Whoever strikes and revile with his speech mother and father, sister or brother, or mother-in-law, he should be known as the outcast." Support for one's mother and father, assistance to one's wife and children, consistency in one's work, this is the highest protection. The family is a source of our life, part of our identity, and this should not be overlooked. In this way, we also realize that the body is not an independent element, but it is conditioned. And we take full responsibility for this. The body is given and should use it appropriately. This does not mean that we need to be intimately intertwined with family, but that we act with respect, kindness, and we support them as they supported us. Appreciate seclusion. The Buddha said, not neglecting seclusion, meditation, constantly living the Dhamma in the line with the Dhamma. Then, in sitting and resting places that are little sound, a monk should dwell. For a person by nature entangled, there are affections. On the heels of affection, this pain. Seeing the drawback born of affection, wander alone like rhinoceros. Seclusion is not how it usually perceived in the world. It is not about running away from unpleasant experiences or having a holiday time for recovery from busy social engagements. It is not for avoiding the discomfort of certain events. Getting away from society on a regular basis and from things that distract our mind help us develop a clearer vision and understanding of our mind, and there is no guarantee of pleasant experiences. When we secluded ourselves from distractions, we strengthen ourselves and become more independent and self-confident. So, as it might be already clear by now, this exercise especially should be followed when we actually want company. Seclusion also means moving away from social networks and from watching television, listening radio, watching computer, phone, and so on. Each day take time to move away from others and contemplate in silence. Be moderate with food. The Buddha said, he should not be greedy for tastes. Wisely reflecting, I use this alms food not for fun, not for pleasure, not for fattening, not for beautification, only for the nourishment and maintenance of this body, for keeping it healthy, for helping with a holy life, thinking thus, I shall destroy all feelings and not produce new ones. Thus, there will be freedom from physical discomfort and living at ease. In Dhamma practice, we give up things that are not essential and useless. But we cannot do without food. So let's be careful to see food as something that allows us to survive and not use it for anything more than that. We always ask ourselves whether we eat food for pleasure or we really eat just for health and survival. If we realize it is for pleasure, then we put aside food since it is not essential. Moreover, reduce your meals. Perhaps even practice in the way to refrain from eating more than once a day. Be moderate when sleeping. The Buddha said, prone to sleep, prone to company, the man with no initiative, lazy, and known for his anger. That's the way leading to decline. He should not take much sleep, but should apply himself to wakefulness, being ardent. Come, monk, be one who is devoted to wakefulness. During the day, sitting and pacing back and forth, cleanse your mind of any qualities that will hold the mind in check. During the first watch of the night, sitting and pacing back and forth, cleanse your mind of any qualities that will hold the mind in check. During the second watch of the night, reclining on your right side, take up the lion's posture, one foot placed on top of another, mindful, alert, with your mind set on getting up. During the last watch of the night, sitting and pacing back and forth, cleanse your mind of any qualities that will hold the mind in check. These are the 6 dangers inherent in laziness, saying, it's too cold, it's too hot, it's too late, it's too early, I'm too hungry, I'm too full. One does not work. With abundance of excuses for not working, new wealth does not occur and existing wealth goes to waste. When we wake up, we get up immediately with full will and joy. Let's not allow ourselves to be lazy and look for excuses. A positive mind really illuminates and awakens the heart. Take responsibility for all your action and all your words and thoughts. The Buddha said, doing what's fitting, enduring burdens, one with initiative finds wealth. Through truth, one attains honor. Giving binds friends to oneself. I'm in no one's employ. If you make mistake, try to correct it and apologize if appropriate. We do not shy away from responsibility, let alone look for excuses and point the finger at others. Also, don't wait for others to solve the problem for us. Always educate yourself in practical things and do what needs to be done regardless of our moods. It is also a path to seclusion when we feel alone in difficult situations. That way, we become more resilient when bigger problems arise. We also become more prepared for the time of death. Avoid alcoholic drinks and drugs. The Buddha said, avoiding, abstaining from evil, refraining from intoxicants, being heedful of mental qualities, this is the higher protection. These are the 6 dangers inherent in heedlessness, caused by intoxication, loss of immediate wealth, increased quarreling, susceptibility of the illness, disrepute, indecent exposure, and weight, and weakened insight. These are the 6 dangers inherent in compulsive gambling. Winning breeds resentment. The loser mourns lost property. Saving a lost. One's word carries no weight in public forum. Friends and colleagues display their contempt, and one is not sought after for marriage, since a gambler cannot adequately support a family. We never allow our self-esteem to pay homage to the temptation to tastes, intoxications, and needs for society. We are aware that we alone are responsible for our own happiness, and no one else really cares about our inner purity. Do not run away from discomforts. The Buddha said, when contacted by contact, a monk should not make limitation about anything. Without resistance in all 4 directions, content with whatever you get, enduring troubles without panic. Cold and heat, hunger and thirst, wind and sun, horseflies and snakes, enduring all these without exception. 5 fears a man should not fear. A monk who is mindful and fares within the limits. Get flies, mosquitoes and creeping things, 4-footed beasts and harassment from humans. He should not be terrified by sectarians, even after having seen the many terrors. And further, he should overcome the obstacles, seeking what is skillful, contacted by the pain of disease and by hunger, he should not tolerate it, and also the cold and the hot. Being contacted by these in many ways, the homeless one with persisting energy should make firm. This, of course, goes completely against our habit. Training in discomfort allows us to solidify our mind. The Buddha said that we should be patient in the heat and cold, and instincts of insects, in the discomfort of the body, and also when we hear unpleasant words from others. The same is true when dealing with fear. The Buddha encouraged that when fear comes in a certain position, we should not change that position. For in-depth exercise, it is also advisable to deliberately put ourselves in the awkward position or hard position, difficult positions. Completely abstain from sexual intercourse, choose to sleep in harder beds, and reduce sleep. Eat only in the morning and not listen to music and entertainment. Develop what is useful and do not deal with useless things. Only himself should he come to peace. A monk should not seek peace from what is other. For the one come to peace in himself, there is no the assumed from where the rejected. Adharva charms, dreams, and signs he should not practice, as well as astrology, animal cries, interpretations, causing or conception, and healing my follower should not engage it. Free from longing, finding no pleasure in the world, sport, adore, or sensual bliss, abstaining from adornment, speaking the truth. He follows the 5 precepts without compromise. Don't cheat. Limit entertainment, distraction, such as movies, music, and books. Put aside all speculative studies, horoscope, empty debates, and worship of the gods. Give priority of your time in discovering Dhamma. Days are short. Life is short. Don't let time run away. Don't be satisfied with the first answer offered. Keep researching. Doctrines are indirectly opposed to each other. Speculative ideas will not save us from ignorance. All worldly ideas seek answers by binding facts in time and space. But such truth remain conditioned and therefore untrue. Let us not believe immediately what they tell us, for the truth must be known. Let even our waking life be directed towards the search for truth. Contemplation of death. The Buddha said, a death that all gets abandoned, while a man thinks as this is mine. Having known this too, being wise, my follower would not incline to make things mine. Sorrow, limitation, and avarice, they do not give up who are greedy for things called mine. Everywhere the Muni is independent, and does not regard things as liked or disliked. On him limitation avarice do not stick, as water does not on a lotus leaf. It is certainly not something that would be enjoyable, but that's why it's helpful to be aware of your impermanence at least once a day. Every night we think that this may have been the last day, and every morning we are grateful to have survived and wish that this gift of my life could benefit others as well. This exercise helps us not to become too attached to ourselves and others, increases our sense of gratitude, and thus also begins to see our priorities in life in completely different light. So there are 20 tips or recommendations how to start practicing as the real Buddhist. Not just to honor the Buddha, but taking responsibility of every action we do, and we try to make a progress that any little rot in our heart is seen and then also cleaned, and we don't allow that the heart gets dirty again. So step by step we make a progress, and then the mind gets clearer, the heart gets brighter, and many other phenomena are going to be clearer. Only then we can make a better sense what the Buddha was teaching us.